Yeah, check 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2. All right, how we doing, everyone? Thanks for joining me here at Cross Sound Studios. I'm Toby. I'm the producer and bass player for Gentleman's Dub Club. It's a real honor to be here, representing the band on our YouTube channel. You may have checked out some of our broadcasts recently. We did a live stream for our new album, Down to Earth, which just came out. And you might have checked in on one of the Vibration Station sessions that I've been doing in the last year. And those sessions have been really important, firstly, because it's just great to play music in a time when we can't play music. But it's really connected me with dub, and I've never ever gone in so hard on the technicalities and the background and the possibilities of mixing dub music. Obviously, it's in our name, but our music doesn't necessarily always consist of like dub arrangements, but definitely our roots and our original, actually the way that we met was at a night called Subdub in Leeds, run by Mark Iration and Simon Scott. I'd like to give them a big air horn. They really introduced us to all sorts of artists playing dub records and also playing live. And Mark has a setup where he can arrange his tracks on the fly and use the EQs. And so it's really been a massive part of the foundation of where we started, and we incorporate it as much as possible in our music, while sort of keeping song structures and making sure the vocal is present throughout the track. Because the original idea of dub actually came from the late 60s in Jamaica. So the readout there, which I don't think I had the audio engaged for. Sorry about that. Let me just find the actual the picture. So in 1968, basically a producer exported a track with no vocal, which was obviously pretty groundbreaking, a groundbreaking error, because that ended up forging an entire genre. So yeah, in 1968, Kingston, Jamaican sound system operator Ruddy Redwood went to Duke Reid's Treasure Isle studio to cut a one-off dub plate. Engineer Byron Smith left the vocal track out by accident, but Redwood kept the result and played it at his next dance, with his DJ Wassie toasting over the rhythm. The instrumental record excited the people at the sound system, and they started singing lyrics of the vocal track over the instrumental. The invention was a success. Ruddy needed to play the instrumental continuously for half an hour to an hour that day. So the next day, Byron Lee, who was a witness to this, told King Tubby that they needed to make some more instrumental tracks, as the people loved them, and they dubbed out vocals from Ain't Too Proud to Beg by Sim Smith. Because King Tubby's innovative approach, the resulting instrumental track was more than just a track without a voice. King Tubby interchanged the vocals in the instrumental, playing the vocals first, then playing the rhythm, then mixing them together. From this point on, they started to call such tracks versions. Another source puts 1967 and not 1968 as the initial year of the practice of putting instrumental versions of reggae tracks to the B-sides of records. So, out of that slight amount of chaos came some amazing music, and that's continued today. So if you're in the chat, give me a shout. Any questions, ask me. This is kind of an informal hang, really. I'm going to play some dubs. I'm going to talk you through roughly what's going on here for any audio heads. Please jump in with your questions. I've had a couple of questions so far, so I'll read them out. But I am going to start, I think, by playing the recent Gentleman's Dub Club track, Honey. Hey, Laura. And we've actually got a live stream on Thursday where we're going to be doing a half-hour DJ set Thursday evening, and we're going to be playing the Honey music video premiere. So, in that spirit, I'm going to play a dub of Honey. And I'm going to switch to this overhead cam here so you can see roughly what I'm doing. All right, here I go.
Sweet honey, you know how to draw me in. Temptation always leads to you. Sweet honey, you taste too good to be true. The sweetest sin, queen bee in the honeycomb, dancing on the waterfall, surrender to the siren's call, desire takes control of me. Sweet honey, sweet. Tastes too good to be true.
Sweet Honey. Yeah. That was Honey featuring Holly Cook. That was off our recent album, or just released album, Down to Earth, available on Easy Star Records. And yeah, so that was the dub version of Honey. Plan to do a full dub album of all the tracks on Down to Earth. Yeah, which is really exciting. As you can see, there's kind of like a lot going on. And I don't know what any of it does. So, yeah, so I've had a few questions. What have we got? Actually, I had a question. No, let's have a look. Akai track. Yeah, so the Akai is this filter bank here, right? And it's got all sorts on it. It's got an LFO. It's got an envelope filter. It's got high, low pass. It's got an EQ. It's got a phaser. It's got a distortion. And the way I use it is I send a portion of my drum track out to the Akai and then back in on these channels here. If you look over the top here. So it's going drums, these two sends, I'm sending out to the Akai and then back in here. But I'm sending them on a pre-fade send. So if I pull the fader down, if I send them here, the signal's still going out to the Akai. So check this out. I'll just play some drums from Honey. If that's gonna play. Here we go. So sorry, you're gonna have to bear with me a sec. This is quite a long intro, I think. Yeah. So even though the fader's down, the signal's still passing out to the Akai, and then that's on a filter. And then if I want to get rid of it, I just bring the drums in. So I can change between the two. And then because it's on any channel, I can, because all the sends are on each channel, I can do it on the music. So if I send some of the music, when the music's down. And then I can also send the Akai to any of the delays. So, here we go. So the music will come back in a sec. So you've got the filter going into the delay. Yeah, so that's how I use the Akai. You can use it for all sorts of things, but that's how I use it in this context. There's so many options, obviously. And just to give you like a brief rundown of what's going on here. So I've got my drums channel here. This is generally how I do it. Sometimes I send stuff to different channels if the tune has a different arrangement of instruments. But so I have the drums here, the bass coming in mono here. So drums is stereo left and right, bass mono, lead vocal mono, backing vocals left and right, music left and right. So music is kind of like the chops, the bubbles. Sometimes like if there's like a clav part, I might put it there. And then anything that's kind of like horns or like a lead synth or anything that stands out from everything else. That's kind of how I arrange that. And then these auxiliaries, this top one here is the spring reverb. So this is what the spring sounds like. And this is actually, it's come from the back of a guitar amp. You can actually just rip these out of the back of a guitar amp and use these phono cables here. Yeah. So that's the spring. And then I've got a DDL, Eventide DDL delay here. Digital delays usually don't have the sort of breakup of tape delays, so you get quite a clean sound. There's quite a lot of low end in there, so sometimes I'll EQ the channel, take the low end out. And then this here is the RE20, which is a tape delay emulator. And then here I've got a Meris Mercury 7 digital reverb, which is wavy. And that can go on for a while, and it's got a modulation on it. You can hear that modulate. So yeah, Lioness DJ, wicked, I love it. Stepadelic Productions. How do your sends work on your stereo channels? Do you turn both left and right for the same effect? No, I'll just use one, usually. That's kind of all you need, really. Yeah, so I'll just use one, and I'll just tune it so that it sounds even. So I'll go through, before I do a dub session, I'll go through and make sure that everything is level. All my sends, auxiliaries, all the levels going into the gear and back out again. I make sure the inputs and outputs are all set so that when I've got the fader at the top, one of these faders, when it's right at the top, it's just on the verge of like breaking up. As in over feedbacking, that's a word. So I can So yeah, I'll just use one. I mean, there's so much going on that if you were to use both your stereo auxiliaries, it would just completely fry your brain, I think. So yeah, big up from the Midlands, Joey Darby. Yes. Do you send? Okay, genius move with the pre-send. Well, yeah, I mean, I've spent a lot of time in here, and this desk is actually an amazing bit of kit. And I'd like to give a massive shout to Ben McCone, mainly because it's his desk. He couldn't really fit it in his studio, so it's ended up with me. So I'm very lucky boy. And this is a Tweed Audio, and it's from the mid to late 70s. Hard to tell, because lost in the mists of time. And yeah, it's still got all its original kind of paperwork. You can see it's got like, yeah, all of its kind of original schematics, all the kind of mad, oh, where is it? Yeah, all the original paperwork. It's been kept in such good condition. It was actually owned previously by one of my dub heroes, Prince Fatty. And I'd be amazed to hear who else has owned it as well. I bet it's been through quite a lot of people. But if you actually look at it, or if you open it up, sorry, that's my phone just getting in the way. Yeah, I said this was going to be informal. If you open it up, you can pull the modules out. Oh God. 1 second. It's all right. They're made of solid stuff. You can pull the modules out. So if you look at that, it's all the connections and all the cables are sending signals in and out, and it basically is powered by a massive, like, double power socket at the bottom, like power units. Just get that back in there, and it all slots in, and it means that you can basically customize the desk how you want. So if you want line amps or mic amps in different positions, then you can just move them around the desk. And it's just an incredible piece of kit. And once again, I'd like to thank Ben McCone and apologize. No, haven't broken it. Good. Yeah. So that is the desk I'm working with, and it's got a serious pedigree to it. Are you high passing all the tracks to make room for the bass? Matija Vabec. Yeah, well, and generally when I'm mixing, so let me just show you actually the Logic project I'm working with. It's a bit mad. So these are all the tracks I've got for the vibration station. And if you have a look, so Honey, this track, it's got the delay, the snare delay. It's got the dry drums, so drums with no effects. It's got a lexicon reverb, which I pre-recorded back in. The spring, which I pre-recorded back in. So it's got some effects. I have them a bit lower in the mix, but I have them just in the background, just to give a little bit of texture. And then I add the effects on top, just to give it like multiple vibes. So when I'm mixing, I'll often get, say, so I've got the chops here. Let's just play those. Oh, let's take the effects off for the minute. So I will probably, I don't know, let's have a look. Let's see if there's any, oh, you can't see the effects, but yeah, it's generally, they're cut at like 50 hertz maybe. But when I'm mixing, I'll generally clear mud by doing that, by taking the parts that aren't part of the sub or the kick maybe, and probably in varying degrees sort of shave them off, because you want to leave room for that kick and bass. And I actually got asked about cutting and sort of carving out space for your bass and kick to come through. And a big part of that is you have to make a decision. What is that prominent part that's going to be moving the speaker? You know, you kind of have to choose between the bass or the kick, and then mold them against each other. Because if you try and compromise, you'll normally end up with a bunch of mud. So if the bass line's kind of a high bass line, so there's a Gentleman's Dub Club tune on the last album called More Than Memories. Go and check it out. It's got quite a high bass line. And so that was a case of making sure the kick like walloped through underneath it, and the bass found its place in the sort of lower mid, still with a good amount of sub, but you have to choose what's going to take up that room and then kind of mold them against each other. And it's all trial and error. All this stuff is trial and error. Ben Burnside, big respect to you, one of my patrons. Just to let you know, I do a patreon.com/Toby Davies music. I go into dubbing in detail, songwriting, production, mixing, all that sort of gear. Ben is one of my wonderful patrons. Thanks for checking in, mate. Are your stems for dubbing pre-mastered? Would you master your dub post-dub mix? Yeah, so stems I don't master pre-dubbing. So I bounce them out of projects straight, clean. Might put something on the master, maybe a little bit of, I use the UAD Ampex 102. That one's really good, just for like pulling everything together. But I have found if you have something on the master, when you bounce stuff out, this sometimes happens. If you're bouncing individual stems out each time through the master, whatever you've got on the master will affect each stem individually. So you won't actually, when you put it into dub, you won't actually be getting the same stems that you're using for your track mix. So I find that, I've got to be quite sparing with that. I don't master them beforehand, but I definitely master them afterwards. And the key to that really, and getting a good master, is making sure that your channels are coming in at a decent level. So if I play this tune, play Honey, with all my parts coming through,
Sweet honey,
and then I go to the console, you can see it's coming in a bit hot there. Pull it down a bit. Right, now normally that's actually a little bit, this is another Patreon advert for you. That's normally a bit of a, with YouTube, you have to have the music and your audio coming in really hot. Otherwise, it's really quiet. YouTube kind of compresses it. But I'd normally have it coming in back through the desk at like -4 maximum. And then give the mastering engineer, I'd like to shout out Brad Ballou, mixed by Brad, absolute genius, mastered the GDC album, does a lot of mastering for Crosstown Studios. And yeah, his ideal is at maximum -4 because he's got the ears to bring it up to 0 and give it that amazing surround and enormous sound. But if he doesn't have much headroom to work with, then he's kind of like playing with nothing, you know. So, yeah, any other questions? Spill the beans on the Akai. How do you tempo sync your delays? In fact, let me do another track. Because we could be here all day. I love talking about this stuff, but it is dangerous, especially if you're not an audio nerd. Okay, so I'm going to play another track here. This one is called Moonlight Dreams, and it's from Down to Earth. All right.
Wide awake in bed, I think of you again. Our time torn apart by the poetry of life. I still remember, I feel you next to me, underneath the nightfall, in your arms. Falling like a feather through these endless streets. I still see you in my dreams, still connected through these distant melodies. We will dance.
God, I've got to turn that Patreon thing off. It looks like an absolute blag. Right, so there we go. Moonlight Dreams. I absolutely love that tune. To dub, it's such a beautiful tune. Shout out to Luke Allwood and Johnny and Nick and everyone involved in that track, and in the whole album. Actually, everyone smashed it. I'll just turn the Akai off there. So yeah, how do I tempo sync my delays? So I tempo sync them because I tempo sync them by there's a couple of buttons actually. The DDL delay has a little tap tempo, so I'll do it on my voice. Actually, no, I won't because I can't reach over. Let me just get a. Here we go. Get a music channel. Here we go. So when I tap it, I tap the rhythm. And you can do some mad stuff with that. And then if I have it going through the RE20, that's also got a tap tempo. You can't really see it with the camera. It's right at the top here, but it's the same thing. And then the same thing with the Akai. It's got a tap tempo on the filter. I love this piece of kit so much. So you can move the filter, and it's got an LFO on it as well. So yeah, it's all tap tempo stuff. I did actually go. I went through a stage of having foot pedals for the tap tempo, but I mean, firstly, it looks ridiculous. You're kind of flapping around like a duck, and secondly, you can only be so exact with like tapping your feet, and the pedals sometimes have a bit of give on them. So if you get your rhythms wrong, then you miss the tempo, and it kind of just sounds rubbish. But that said, sometimes if you do like a really wonky, back in the day when they were using tape, there was no way of tapping the tempo. So I mean, actual tape machines only have like 2 or 3 settings on them. So you just have to, you'd have to sort of just have it on one setting and just roll with it. So, it doesn't matter that much, but with a tune like this, like, if you get the triplet feel, it gives it so much groove. And the triplet is perfect for dub because it goes over the bar. It doesn't stand on the beat. So if you're looking to just, what's the word? If you're looking to really like draw out a section, it just keeps on giving. I mean, that's pretty cool because it's out of time, but if it's just on the beat like that, it's not quite as vibey. But, it depends how you do your thing. I mean, there are some incredible engineers out there that don't use any of this stuff, and their stuff sounds way better than mine. So shout outs to Scientist, King Tubby, Prince Fatty, Jammy, Vibronics, Iration. So yeah, any other questions? Let's have a look. Jar Bizarre, hit me up. Yes, there he is, Mr. St. James. Why am I sat by myself clapping? Big respect, man. Thank you. Thanks for tuning in. Oof, that's strong. All right, let's get on to another tune. What should we play? Oh yeah, let's do the Skints. This is Restless featuring Protege. Don't know why I say it like that. Here we go.
And express that distrust. I'm wide away.
Officer who chose to rob a mother of a son, and the tower.
Next scene, as robots all know I'm a mutant. Yeah, sentinels can smell the X gene. Use your powers, come join the team. Cause all those that wanna reign supreme never really wanna take the blame supreme or for the pain too deep. You get left in the rain, you see new day, but it all feels the same to me. I know you wanna make your country hate again. Please teach these cunts to be afraid again. I said away with them. And as the crowds grow restless, I'm gonna wait with them. And if you ain't insane or dead, you better engage your brain and get wise to the tactics. Ignite your mind like a matchstick, start blazing them.
As the crowds grow restless and express that distrust, I'm wide away.
I said they're plotting, they're judging, they're talking, watching with them eyes wide shut. Every lyrics, every syllable me write up. Thankful for the light where shine and make me sight up. Things that were not right in spite of feeling nice. Oh my, I've enjoyed my days. Got some real one side of me. From your up life you can find a way. Look at me reach now finally. What am I to say? I'm wide awake somewhere either way. On the low key side of the island I order my iPhone. Man does I drive on the road, me I keep in my iPhone plan.
That one slaps. What a banger. Big shout to the Skints. Massive tune. Protege as well. What a legend. Yeah. Mixed by Prince Fatty, that one. Thanks for sending me the stems, Mike. Appreciation as always. go and check out Prince Fatty if you haven't. Where have you been? Let's have a look here. That desk looks so good. 6 sends, yeah, 6. Reverb, delay, reverb, Akai filter. I explained kind of about 20 minutes ago, I think. Maybe a bit longer than that. How long have we been going? Wow. Yeah, you might want to reload the video afterwards. Hungry Man in the chat. Yes, mate. How you doing, man? Thanks for locking in. I had a question, another one from Ben Burnside. What was it? Oh, yeah. How you print your effects for further mixing. General dub prep. Okay, so we've done a bit about the post-dub mix processing. I print my effects. So if you look at the desk here, these are outputs here, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then left and right. Left and right is my monitors, and then 1 and 2. I'm actually just using 3 and 4 at the moment because I'm sending it back into YouTube. But if to print my effects, all I do is these effects over here, I'd uncheck 3 and 4 and just have 1 and 2 checked, and then I've got 1 and 2 sending to these faders here, and I just push them up, and so I'd have the dry stems all dubbed, the arrangement kind of dry, separate to the effects, and then when I've got the effects, I can kind of tuck them in a little bit. But actually most of the time I just have everything coming out of 2 channels, because I think, like, I don't know, part of the fun and part of the kind of ratchet nature of dub is that, you know, anything can happen at any moment and it should be a little bit wild. There are a couple of points in that last tune where I like brought up a fader and nothing was on it, maybe like left a delay hanging, or like overcooked something. But that's part of the fun of it. And that goes on to what Ben Burnside was asking about the live show. So he asked, what do you guys do in Dub Club for achieving dub effects live with the band? Most places will have different desks and setups. So we're lucky enough to have the genius Doug Hunt Sound and Light. He's our sound engineer and is like the most amazing brain that I've ever met. And he has a Midas rig, which because he runs an audio company, he has a Midas rig which is digital and has all its own. You can save all the settings, so he has like a show set and often brings the desk with him. If we're doing festivals, some of them have Midas desks, some of them are different show desks, but he normally has like a file from other desks that we've used. So kind of loads them in. Doug, maybe you want to jump in the chat, actually. So Doug will actually be doing exactly what I'm doing now, but with a live band. Like, how crazy is that? So he's got a 500 series rack like this. Well, it's not just like this. It's a little bit different, not quite as cool. But no, it's got some serious bits on it. And so he just does what I'm doing, but with a live band. And he'll be doing all the EQing as well. With me, I bounce my stems out pre-EQ'd, so I don't have to mess around with the EQs. I might tuck something in a little bit, turn something up a little bit. If I hear that, you know, when I've bounced them out something in the process, maybe there's something on the master that's changed how the track's sounding. I might tweak it on the desk. I tweak my effects using the EQs at the top here because they're coming back here. But Doug actually does all of that live, and he's a genius. Some of us have effects on our instruments. I use a Nord, it's right here, and that has delays and reverbs on it. I use those quite a lot. I split my keyboard into like bass, and then sometimes synth, sometimes some samples on there, and I send them out through the different effects pedals on, the effects units on the Nord. And then Tommy's got an SPD with delay and reverb on, I think. So he's the drummer. Percussionist has got one as well. Is anyone else using effects on stage? Oh, I use this siren through this Bocce Boss. No, it's not Bocce. It's pretty handy. DD7 digital delay pedal here. So yeah, we're all like audio nerds. So any opportunity to add delays, whatever, to everything that's going on. I think that partly gives it this kind of slightly wild flavor, which is, it just leaves it a little bit rough around the edges when there's just mad sounds going on all over the place. And that's been something we've really kind of aimed to do over the years. So yeah, have we got any other questions? Yeah, Doug Hunt, absolute genius. He's working on his 500 rack. It's looking good, man. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, exactly. He's mixing all the dub effects live. You should check out our live stream. That was like a couple of weeks ago. What do you do for your synth-based sounds on the record? Pravi, good to see you, man. Yeah, I use this Nord here. You can kind of see it there. And I split it, like I said. Sorry, I kind of accidentally answered your question. Maybe we're just too in sync, man. It's Prav management. We're just like this all the time. Telepathy. So I use it's basically like a sine wave with, I've done a few bits to it. There's a bit of compression. I mess with the filters quite a lot. Low pass, high pass. You can switch between them during the show. And then I'll take a synth. If we use if I want to play a synth that I've used on the record, I'll just do I'll bounce out a sample, like a 10-second sample of it, and then spread it across the keys so that it has the same sound, because I might be using a soft synth in Logic. That is, and you want that same sound. You want it to sound like it does on the record. Like whenever I go and see a band, if the sounds are all like they are on the record, I'm just it blows my mind. Even with all this technology, it should probably be a given. But yeah, when you see a band and it's just like, wow, it sounds like the record. It's everyone's favorite, isn't it? Need to find myself a Doug. Didn't know this was on until now. Dread Center, welcome. How loud is too loud for the bass in a mix? That, my friend, is a big question. I guess depends what the other lot's saying. Depends what everything else is saying. But I mean, one thing is that a lot of the time, I think the bass is louder than you think it is, especially if you're playing on sound systems. Like some sound systems go down to like, ridiculous hertz, and they'll be picking up all of those sub frequencies. And if you've got a proper rig, then those if you look at like an 18-inch diaphragm sub compared to the tweeters, that's going to be moving a lot of air. So it depends on the tune. It really depends on the tune. If you join my Patreon, you can send me stuff over, and I'll do a little feedback. But there's some great resources out there as well. If you go on YouTube, Pensado's Place is good. Any other suggestions, pop them in the chat for good resources. I just started watching this guy, Kush After Hours, who's this Californian dude who's hilarious and actually kind of like breaks down a lot of the mystery of mixing, which that's one thing I really believe, is that there's too much kind of mystery around production and mixing, and kind of people talk a lot of crap, mystical stuff about audio, but I like to kind of keep it simple and break it down. I'm not like a physics genius. I'm terrible at physics, and I managed to learn all this stuff. But don't test me on any of it. Loved your live stream. I don't think I've ever seen it make so much effort for a live stream. Have you ever used an Akai MPK Mini? Yeah, they're really good. The little MIDI guys, I think that's them. Yeah, great. I mean, all of that stuff, all of the new, wave of technology, outboard gear, soft synth. It's all like, I just can't believe it. Every time I check something new out, I'm just like, this is unbelievable. The amount of R&D research that's gone into it. But I would say in general, getting into outboard and audio gear, analog gear, has completely changed the way I look at music. There's so much. It's all. I mean, you're dealing with electric currents. Like I said, I'm terrible at physics, but I managed to get a good idea of how it all works just through using all of this stuff. And analog gear, it's all different. If you buy something with microchips in, I'm going off on a bit of a rant here, which started with a MIDI keyboard, but if you buy stuff with chips in, microchips, if it breaks, then you either have to send off for new chips or you chuck it and have to buy another one. Something like this, if something breaks, you just open it up, get the soldering iron out, or Ben gets the soldering iron out, and you can fix it, and you have this amazing relationship with the equipment around you. I know it sounds really nerdy, but honestly, you just learn more and more about the process of audio, and then it feeds back into mixing, and then also, with dubbing, you're looking at the arrangements of the music. So what makes people, ultimately at the start, that slightly botchy intro, I explained that, dub started because someone bounced out a tune without a vocal and everyone went mental. So this music's all about dancing, and it's all about those rhythms, and that kind of brings you all the way back, through the analog gear to the music, and it just works in perfect synergy. So I'd highly recommend, if anyone has a chance to use analog gear. I know it's a bit more expensive, but if you save up for it, you will treasure it forever, honestly. Sorry, rant over. Right, here we go. Let's do another one. I'm gassing. This one is Never Before, featuring Mr. Williams. This one's out on Reggae Roast. Right, let me just set this up. Hold on. Here we go.
Now he's found a thing called, you never heard nothing like this before. For sure. Every way it sound I play clean and pure. What is it? Up in at this, I want you run up in at this, yeah. Up in at this, I want you step up in at this, yeah. Up in at this, I want you rock up in at this. Special request to all dance all massive. You never hear a sound like this before. You never hear a sound like this before. You never hear a sound like this before. The heavyweight sound I play clean and pure. Massive them a skank it on the dance floor. Watch out them a skank and a ball out for more. Anywhere with them just a give way encore. Vibes that they place from ceiling to floor. But I know you want to have it more than more. Style where you want, yes, where you fit galore. So plate you want, yes, where you fit in store. So much of where you have to keep them insured. Listen to this, so make me tell you something more. And sound want test, then check with repertoire. Loaded ready like a 404. Shoulda never ever try knock from my door. Yeah, you never hear a sound like this before. You never hear a sound like this before. You never hear a sound like this before. The heavyweight sound I play clean and pure. Right through the world with big machine tour. When we say shell we don't mean say sure. They are London and we shell that for sure. They are Germany and we shell that for sure. Step all in France them a shout bonjour. When we they are Spain them say gracias senor. The way we shell that them a ball por favor. Yeah, that means they want more for more. When me say you have some little sound boy you live insecure. Play one dance them no one play no more. Play two dance them no one play no more. That simply means say that them is immature. The way how them a play, how them play unsure. The way how them a play, how them can't endure. Stink and coming like some mass manure. We coming like a lion, we not stop from roar. You never hear a sound like this before. You never hear a sound like this before. You never hear a sound like this before. The heavyweight sound I play clean and pure. Massive them skanking for the dance. Watch out them a skank and a ball outfit. Anyway we did them just a give it on. That simple means that the vibes well sure. Wanna make them know it's from ceiling to floor. Pattern and stylist we have that galore. Anyway we there with them a set adore. Vibes when we have now them can't ignore. Yeah, you never hear a sound like this before. You never hear a
Right. Yes. Love that one. Never Before, featuring Mr. Williams. Still waiting for the 10-minute extended dub mix of Enter the Chamber. Funny you should say that. I don't know if I've got a 10-minute version. I don't even know if I've got... Hold on. No, I don't have that one. But I do have... What have I got? Here we go, Nocturnal. Let's do that one. Okay. Any other questions about dubbing, any of the stuff I'm doing? Happy to take questions. This is a kind of informal workshop representing Gentleman's Dub Club. I'm Toby, hello, producer, bass player, sideman. Thanks for sharing your knowledge. Nice one, Giles. Danny, nice one. Are mixing tutorials included in your Patreon? Yes, they are indeed. Yeah, again, Dread Center, the effort, I mean, we put effort in, but Doug was absolutely incredible, put the whole thing together. Respect to Doug. This is a Doug Lovin' official. Where can I get those fader bridges? Oh, they're from Canford Audio. So they are called, Canford Fader Bridge. Hold on, let me find the thing. Canford.co.uk. You get them in a long strip. These are just cut-offs. I use a Stanley knife, just cut them off. And then it keeps them in place, so you can kind of just with one finger if you want. I need to actually get some more of them. They're quite expensive, but they're very useful. The master out going through the distressors. The drums are going through the distressors. I've actually got them on bypass, mate. It looks cool. No, I've kind of, because all the drum tracks are slightly different. They have different characteristics. It would be a bit of a nightmare compressing left and right on each tune differently. I mean, I guess I could set them, but they've already been compressed. So for the minute, they just look cool. Thanks for your question, man. Do you ever produce rock? Yeah, produce some rock. I used to be in a lot of rock bands when I was younger. I seem to have just spent my life choosing to do music that ruins your hearing, so I'm kind of looking forward to getting the old hearing aids. Actually, I just mixed a rock record by a group called Dog Bar Cinema, headed up by Ed Thomas, who shares the studio with Ben next door. Love it. Different discipline altogether, so different to dub. Has to be so much more consideration for the guitars, because obviously they sort of take center stage. The last record I actually mixed, the vocal, it got to the point where I was trying to get the vocal louder, but Ed was just going, no, I need it deep in the mix, set in the mix. And then I started listening to more and more stuff, and actually, a lot of rock records have that characteristic where the guitars are just massive and the vocals kind of sit. But obviously it depends. Many ways to cook a cat, or whatever they say. Yeah. Get involved. The drums are going into the desk, already summed and compressed. Yeah, so I'll mix them in the box in Logic and then bounce them and send them out. So the way I send them out, so this is output 3 and 4. So with the UAD audio, their interfaces, their monitor output is 1 and 2. So you have to go from 3 and 4. So I have 3 and 4 drums, 5 bass, 6 vocals, 7 and 8 BVs, 9 and 10 music. And then this is my monitor out here. So actually I monitor everything out of here, but I kind of break it between what I'm listening to on my computer and then when it comes back in, you have to mute it so you don't get that horrendous feedback. Yeah, do you prepare your stems before dubs? So you run your guitars and keys in stereo. So they panned pre-mixer. Good question. Yeah, they are. Yeah. Everything you're hearing is basically the stems from the record going through the desk. And then, you can do all sorts of extra stuff to it. But I mean, that's the amazing thing about dub, is that you can make anything out of anything. You know, I could play an entire tune with just drums and bass and a bit of music. I obviously like to get a bit creative, and I probably, you know, because I've used software more, I'm more aware of like mad possibilities that you can have, you know, with routing. But actually at the same time, you know, all this stuff is transferable. If you get a digital MIDI controller for your DAW, you can do all of this stuff and automate it, but it doesn't quite have the spontaneity. But yeah, I do pan my stuff. What am I on about? Here we go. This one is Nocturnal. This one's from our record, The Big Smoke. a bit rough around the edges, that one, but you get the idea. That was Nocturnal featuring the genius Josh Arcaleo. So, yeah, that was from the Big Smoke. And that one instrumental, so kind of less to do. But I was kind of dubbing out the sax solo, and these things came off a couple of times. I was just getting a bit carried away there. You and Paolo Baldini, the best dub masters in Europe. Thank you, Elia Pozzi. The channels left of the drum pair, all return channels. They are, yeah. So I've got my spring coming back in. Delay, reverb, and then my filter. Ronnie, huge fan of your work. Thank you, Ronnie. Big respect. How do you get OBS to pick up the audio from the UAD? Can't get my OBS to see my Apollo as a sound source. Yeah, you should, audio input capture. And then you go to... Let's have a look. What's going on here? Yeah, it should just appear as a device on your audio input capture. You need to put it as a source in one of your scenes. And then if you want the... I actually messed this up earlier with the intro. But if you want the audio to capture with exactly the same settings on different scenes, then you have to just replicate it. So you just do a copy and paste. And then it says, do you... use it as a reference to the original, so it sort of becomes an alias for the original input. You ever can catch up on the Netherlands show that Corona messed up? Oof. Who knows? That's all up in the air. We've had a few bookings come in, so it's pretty exciting, but it's one of them. You can't really say for sure what's going to happen. It's basically something that's affecting, the entire world. I don't need to tell you this, but it's kind of it's a very difficult one to call. Hopefully, love playing in the Netherlands. We've done some incredible shows there. Did the Ziggo last time we were there with UB40. That was insane. So let me just play a few more dubs, unless there are any more questions. If anyone's got any questions. If you want to delay on the drums, do you send both sends on the channels? No, on the drums, you can just send one. You can just literally send the right one, because my delay is mono. So it just monos it. I think if you have stereo, you'd have to have two sends going out to your stereo. So my Akai is, this is how I do it. I've got my Akai stereo, so I have those set 5 and 6, both sending continuously. And then I bring it up. But yeah, when you're dealing with stereo channels, it gets a little bit fiddly. I'd love to see you guys in the Netherlands. Love it so much. All right, let's play some more tunes. Let me know if you have any more questions. Thanks. Wow, we got 51 people. Make sure you share the stream, like the stream, subscribe to the channel. Again, Thursday evening, we're going to be doing the live video premiere of Honey featuring Holly Cook. So I'm going to be doing a DJ set from here for about half an hour, and then Holly's going to, we're going to play the premiere. So make sure you have your notifications on. It really helps with the algorithm if you do all that stuff. And, we're sort of, in these COVID times, getting all the algorithms up is really important for artists, even though we're not that keen on it. I've got a load of, that's some sweet dubbing. I've got some guys in the GDC group. Yeah, so that would really help. We'd really appreciate it if you spread the word. Right, here we go. This one, Castle in the Sky, again from Down to Earth, out on Easy Star Records.
rocky road. Somewhere on this long and 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 rocky Plants in the sea to see the flowers grow. Do you ever feel like build a castle in the sky? We can build our castle.
Castle in the Sky from Gentleman's Dub Club, Down to Earth, out now on Easy Star Records. I see the RE20. Yeah, got one of those. Sending love from New Zealand. Yes, Leo. Thanks for tuning in. Don't know what time it is over there. You nutter. Might be morning. Almost never use mono channels. Depends. Generally, bass, lead vocal, I have mono, everything else stereo. But it really does depend. And then, yeah, effects are mono, really. If I use stereo effects, I'll have them, like I said before, I'll have them on a set send, so I don't have to exactly get both right. Woo, I fire emoji. Good stuff. Can you talk through your drum chain? Oof, that's for another day. Or go head to my Patreon. Here comes another really bad plug. Patreon. Yeah, I'm doing it all on there. So head over. What are the good desk models? 8 channels, at least 3 sends. SSL X desk. That's really what I cut my teeth on. Yeah, SSL X desk. Really good. In fact, I've got a bit of footage here. Funny you should say that. Got a bit of footage here of actually taking that rig live. I had this 500 series rack here, which actually that's another thing on my Patreon. I do like a focus in on my 500 series rack. Yeah, I had the 8-track all set up, and it was so good. I put it in a case. What's it called? Stage box. And I could just take it around the country, bosh, put all my effects up, and I was good to go. So here's actually a video of me and Johnny, the singer, lots of love Johnny, playing in Birmingham, supporting Easy Star All Stars. So just a little clip here. Okay, you can't actually hear that, but you get the idea. I don't think you can anyway. But yeah, the SSL X desk, brilliant desk. Highly recommended. Any other questions? Are you still getting involved? Of course, you got to get involved these days. You know, well, we're actually, whoa. This is a bit of a tech nightmare. No sound yet. I don't know what happened with OBS there. I'll fix it in post. Some spring in the RE20. Yeah, I'm using a spring reverb, RE20. I'm using all sorts of stuff up here. If you rewind to the start afterwards, you can have a look. Yep, no sound. I'll have a word with myself later. Yeah, there's well, how's it connected? Yeah, that's D sub to TSR jack. Yeah, it's all D sub at the back, which is really handy. Sometimes a bit annoying, but mostly really handy. I was going to see if I can get the sound on that, but let's leave that for now. All right, I'll do another tune. This is my remix of Soundgarden, Black Hole Sun. So yeah, I got the vocal stem for this and some other stems from a pretty sort of back alley website, and had some fun with it. So here we go. Soundgarden, Black Hole Sun, GDC remix. Sorry about that. Black Hole Sun, Soundgarden. Yeah, that was my remix. That featured Ben McCone on drums. He's the drummer for Holly Cook and Maverick Sabre. General Roots as well. Legendary status to Ben McCone. Taught me a hell of a lot about all this stuff. And life in general, you know. That's why he's a general. Always worry using samples from other songs. Yeah, you can't release them, that's the thing. Because if you release them, you're essentially making money from them, and you shouldn't do that. But I mean, I just have them to mess around. This whole thing might get taken down. Hopefully it won't. Where's Kieran? Kieran's not here. Nice little alternative for the Akai filter. See, I mean, there's a bit of a story about this filter. So Ben actually owned it previously, and he put it on eBay. Someone bidded for it, won the bid, and I loved it so much that I just had to match the bid. Because yeah, I looked around. Anything else that does the same sort of thing, you're looking at quite a bit of cash. Stereo filters, yeah, it's quite a lot of money. And they've gone up quite a lot in the last few years just because of trends and stuff like that. But that's why you got to get them while they're hot. Don't you need permission? Yes, love this mix. Lise! Hey, Lise. Good to see you. Vibration Station crew and in general, GDC and music fan extraordinaire. Lots of love, Lise. See you soon. Okay, any more questions? Massive love from the Lake District. Been inspired to make dub. Honestly, it's dub has kind of saved my life over the last year. Just getting immersed in it and the possibilities. Favorite dub producer, reggae dub producer. For me, it's Scientist. Scientist, when I first heard it, it just blew my head apart. I couldn't believe it. Just the sound of the kick drum alone was game over. But then the way that he used effects, the versions he did, just, if you haven't heard Scientist, just check the whole collection out. It's unbelievable. And then special mention to Prince Fatty. We worked with him on our first couple of records, and actually have worked with him on and off over the years, and he's also taught us a hell of a lot. He had the Ironworks studio in Brighton where we recorded tracks like High Grade and all the Open Your Eyes, and what was the second one? Members Only, I think. We did some of the stuff there. And yeah, enormous inspiration. Mike Pelanconi, Prince Fatty. Check him out. A bit more about the possibility of lessons. Hit me in my DMs. Or Instagram, Toby Davies Music. Hit me on there. Electric's Filter Factory. Good call. Anywhere good to get stems to start playing with without breaking the bank? Well, yeah, I mean, there's all sorts online. If you can go on Splice and get a membership of Splice, there's some good stuff on there. You can sign up to Dubmatix's mailing list. He does some great stems and audio samples and stuff like that. Canadian producer, brilliant dub engineer, mix engineer. I think he does songwriting as well. Everything that comes out of there is brilliant. Horsemandrums.com. Now, these drums are incredible. They were recorded with Mike Prince Fatty, and we actually used those drums for Honey featuring Holly Cook. So they sound unbelievable. You get full stems, drum stems from the tracks. And I'm actually thinking of doing a stems pack from just sounds that I've made and instrumentals that I've made from the studio. So stay tuned for all that business. Anyway, good to, stems. But yeah, so been going for about an hour and a half now. I say that as if I'm not enjoying it. I'm absolutely loving it. It's so good to get people interested in dubbing. It's just such a crazy world. But, you know, as well, I use dubbing in other productions as well. I make lots of different types of music, from like hip hop to soul to whatever comes through the door here at Crosstown. And I'll use all of these principles, but obviously what I'm doing here is quite expansive, and there's a lot of space. That's the whole idea of arranging on the fly, is to create space for your effects. So if you've got a full track playing, sometimes I'll just ride the vocal delay throughout the whole track. So during a verse, I'll have it set quite low. And then when it gets to the chorus, if there's a big build up into the chorus, I'll just push it up a bit and ride it through the chorus, bring out some of the expressive words, some of the more kind of open words, to give it a sense of space and dimension for the track, and I'll often record those back in. So I'll just record the effect back in, and then, as I've done with these mixes, I'll have the effect printed running alongside the actual, for example, the lead vocal. So actually then you can even, you can mess around with it after that, but you still get that spontaneity and that analog sound and all the joy of just riding a track all the way through. And it gives it, if you do, again, I don't want to go on about analog, but if you used digital, you just don't get that. You kind of do, but it's not quite the same, the way that the electricity moves through everything. It just doesn't have, and it doesn't have the joy. So yeah, I use dubbing quite a lot, especially for my mixing, for other types of music. What hardware, software do you suggest to start dubbing from home? Alan and Heath do good mixes. It's a tough one, actually. Hardware, software. I mean, I use Logic for software. It's really good for stuff like this, where you've got your stems kind of dropped in. So I can do a whole set with all of these tracks and balance them all. So I've got all of these tracks going on, and then my outputs, I can just fix my outputs. Where are they? Here. So I can just fix my outputs, so it doesn't matter which tune I'm playing, it'll all have the same level on the output. So yeah, stuff like that. Logic's, I mean, I'm sure you can do that with other DAWs, and also I've been using it for so long now, I'm just really quick with it. I say that, it's probably going to have a meltdown now. Yeah, so Logic's great. Ableton's incredible, to be fair. Ableton's incredible. I'd highly recommend that for dubbing. Reaper as well. I've used Reaper a bit. That's pretty good. I think it's another one where I'm not as familiar with the software, so I don't necessarily click with it as quickly, but it's still good. Yeah, there's other ones, Nuendo. There's so much technology. Technology is at such a peak at the moment that honestly, anything you buy, you can have fun with. And it's almost a case of, so long as it's solid, just make sure if you're buying outboard gear, make sure that bits don't fall off it. Like this thing is made like a tank. Like everything's printed on. All the channels have all of their information actually printed into the metal, so you can't mess with them. You get the odd pot that gets a bit loose, but this is from the late 70s, so you kind of let them off. But yeah, if you're buying anything, just make sure it's durable and solid, because it's the old adage, buy cheap, buy twice. And if it means saving up an extra month, then I'd really recommend doing that rather than buying something plastic and have it just fall apart in your hands. Sweet. Ableton Novation Launch Control. Thanks, Giles. That's great. Do you know what every button does? Yeah, pretty much, yeah, give or take. Yeah, Dubmatics is great. So that is, I think that's probably all I'm going to do now. I hope it's been helpful. If anyone has any more questions or anything, just hit me up on Gentleman's Dub Club Instagram or my Instagram, Toby Davies Music. Contact me, tobydmusic@gmail.com. You can hit my Patreon up. And yeah, so like I said, Thursday evening, Gentleman's Dub Club. We're doing a DJ set, and then we're going to drop the Honey video premiere. So that is extremely exciting because I've seen the video and it's insane. It's absolutely insane. We Are Tobin put it together. So really looking forward to that. So we'll be back on here on Thursday. So make sure you subscribe, do all your notifications, and yeah, thanks so much for tuning in. I'm going to play out what to use to stream OBS. Thank you very much. Vintage versus modern monitors. Oof, we're going down a rabbit hole here. I think I'll do another few of these workshops because it's, you know, it's one of those things that can just, it's just endless. It's endless, and that's the beauty of dub, is that it never ends. It just keeps feeding back and feeding back and feeding back, and it's infinite. So yeah, it's forever. So I'm going to play out, having just talked about Prince Fatty. I think I'll play out on, I really hope I haven't played this tune yet. That would be a big error. No, I don't think I have. So, have I played this tune? No, I don't think I have. I wish there was something that told you. Can someone tell me if I've played Just Be Thankful? No, I haven't. Here we go. Just Be Thankful. Prince Fatty production featuring Earl 16. Thanks so much for tuning in once again. Lots of love. Bree, lots of love. Great seeing you today. And here it is. Just Be Thankful. Earl 16. Prince Fatty. That's me out. Lots of love.
against the white wall.